Exploring tide pools. What are tide pools? The tide is the rising and falling of the ocean where it meets the land. The tide rises and falls twice each day. In some areas, little pools in seawater are left behind when the tide goes out. The, this These are tide pools. Most tide pools are found in low areas along rocky shorelines. You might also find small tide pools on sand beaches. Any place along the shoreline line that traps water creatures and tide pools. What causes tides? The tides are caused by the force of gravity. The sun and moon has strong gravity that pulls on Earth. This gravity pulls the boat on both land and water, but only the water can move in response to gravity. When the sun and moon pull on Earth, they pull the ocean water into two mounds. The rotation or spin of Earth causes the rising and falling of the tides. As land areas move into and out of where the water is the mounds. The tides slowly rise and fall. Since Earth makes one full rotation each day, there are two high tides and two low tides every hour, every 24 hours. The moon also moves around the Earth, and this movements affects the tides. Twice each month, the moon and sun line up. They pull on the ocean water together. They combine gravity causes higher amounts of water, creating the highest and lowest tide of the month. These tides are called spring tides. At other times, the sun and moon pull against each other. At this times, the high tides are not as high, and the low tides are not as low. The intertidal zone, the area along the shore between high tide and low tide, is the intertidal zone. This area is covered by seawater during high tide and exposed to air during low tide. The area closest to the sea is only covered by water during the highest tides. Different creatures live in different parts of the intertidal zone, depending on whether they need air or water. What is life like? like in a tide pool. Tide pools are full of sea life. You can see these creatures when the tide goes out. Usually, the more place there are for animals to hiding or attacking themselves, the more animals you will find in the tide pool. The tide pools with the most animals usually occur in rocky areas. The metro and the animals live in or attack themselves to is called the substrate. Surviving in the intruder zone is difficult for the animals there. Imagine living where seawater washes in and out of your home every day. The animals in tide pools have to be able to deal with waves crashing over them. If they don't hang on tight or get out of the way, they could be tossed around, battered against rocks, or even swept away. But it isn't very just seawater threatens the animals of the insect zone. Exposed to the air and sun is also dangerous for an animal that needs to covered by water. Exposure to air causes two major problems. The first problem is drying out. The second problem is that these animals are suddenly exposed to predators looking for an easy meal. Intruder animals have adapted to live in the tide pools. These animals are used to the tide coming and going from their homes every day. They have what's of clinging to rocks and finding protection from crashing waves. They have ways to preventing their bodies from drying out in the air. They also have ways to avoid and beaks and jaws of predators. How a tide pool animal survives depends on whether it is stuck in one place or can move around. Many animals are attached to the substance and they do not move around. Some animals, such as mussels, that have very strong hair like fibers that attach to this substrate. Other animals, such as barnacles, create cement like coal that they use to attach themselves to rocks. Because they cannot move around, these animals cannot escape from the sun, air, and predators. The tadpole animals that are mobile or can move around and are able to run, swim, and crawl. Some of these creatures are sea creatures that become trapped in the tide pools during low tide. They cannot return to the sea until the high tide returns. But because they're mobile, they can seek shelter from the air, sun, and predators. Drying out. Most stationary tadpole creatures have developed ways to protect their bodies from drying out. Some animals, such as barnacles and oysters, have hard shells that they can close or crawl into during low tide. Once in their shells, they have enough moisture so to keep from drying out until high tide returns. The stationary animals most in danger of drying out and are the soft body creatures such as sea anemones. These animals are usually found close to the ocean, where the low tide does not uncover them for very long. Mobile tadpoles and pool animals have the better chance to survival, since they can move to prevent drying out in the sun and air. Many can dig into the sand, while others seek shelter under rocks and seaweed. A group of very tiny crabs called slither crabs can slide their flat bodies into cracks between rocks. Slow-moving animals such as marine snails can hide into their shells. They can actually close a little trapdoor to seal themselves inside. But usually there's enough water in a tide pool for mobile animals to swim or crawl about. Eating and being eaten. Eating and being eaten are facts of life everywhere. Even in tide pools animals have uncute and interesting ways to finding and eating food. Oysters are claims use hair-like parts to trap tiny animals floating in the water. Anemones and jellyfish sting tiny animals with their tentacles. An octopus uses its strong arm and succession succession cups to catch other animals. Tadpole animals also have amazing ways to avoid being eaten. Often, the way animals avoid drying out also helps them avoid being eaten. Their simple slid under rocks or slip into their shells. Other tadpole animals run, scout, swim, or even jump to escape hungry predators. Some tadpole animals blend in with their surroundings. This helps them hide from predators.